Let me introduce you to this fly named Amber. And just now it was blown away by the news in the world. Well, not exactly blown off. It accidentally tore its head off itself while washing itself. This is not a unique case. Such stuff can happen with flies from time to time. Why do they do this? And why is Amber still holding its head in its hands? Maybe it wants to play volleyball. The fact is, Mother Nature created many creatures 5 minutes before the deadline, and flies are one of them. But before I tell you more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll tell you some stories about God's poor creatures, whose lives the evolution has turned into continuous pain and suffering. Let's get started. In ancient China, there was such a dubious entertainment as bamboo torture. A person was suspended above the ground and young bamboo was planted under it. This plant grows very fast, so it was pruned to make it sharp like a spear, and thus in a few days it sprouted through a human. That is quite a perversion, but nature invented something even worse. Check out this pig. It's called Babirus. This animal is known for its sharp and twisted tusks. They grow from birth, bend to the head, and then rest on the skull. If the lead is not lucky enough to live to old age, then sooner or later, the tusks will pierce both the skull and the brain. Nature is still a maniac, and it's got a heck of imagination. No wonder perverted Mother Nature loves scorpions. These killing machines are tough and can withstand the worst conditions. They are covered with a strong shell, have powerful claws, and poison. Evolution also gave them a rather obscure gift in the form of the ability to hold their breath underwater for up to 6 days in a row. It seems like a cool skill, but in reality, scorpions don't really need it. Fact is, they cannot swim. The only chance to escape is to wait until the sea turns into a desert again. Usually, you have to wait more than 6 days for that. So, scorpions, despite all their coolness, just die underwater. Unlike scorpions, dolphins are excellent swimmers, but can hold air for only 10, maximum 15 minutes. Not a very cool result for creatures that live in water for so many years. Now let's look at the kiwi bird. Its appearance alone says that nature has completely turned away from this poor thing. But that's not all. To understand the level of disaster, let's take an ostrich for comparison. There it is. Now let's take Kiwi and see that the ostrich is 100 times bigger than this bird. But if we take an ostrich egg and a Kiwi egg, we will see that they are the same size. Do you understand what I mean? Towards the end of the pregnancy, the Kiwi egg occupies the entire area of the abdomen. The bird cannot even eat because not a single extra crumb will fit into it. It does not have anesthesia, so one can only sympathize with this poor monster. Another interesting joke that nature has gifted its children with is auto-cannibalism. If you're too tasty or too stupid, sooner or later you'll start eating yourself. There is such a symbol in mythology called Ouroboros. It's a snake that eats itself. Turns out this happens in real life. People used to think that snakes were so excited about eating that they didn't notice where the victim ended and their own body began, but now scientists are inclined to think that snakes sometimes perceive the movement of their tail as the movement of their prey. They bite their own tails, poison themselves, and then slowly digest them. It's weird, scary, and very stupid. Someone shoves their own tail and other non-obvious parts of their body into their mouth, and someone gives birth to children through it. It sounds terrible because it's true. The gastric brooding frog does just that. Fertilization occurs externally, after which the female swallows the eggs, and after some time, tadpoles hatch in its stomach and grow into a full-fledged frog. After maturation, the mother offers the children to find their own home and unceremoniously regurgitates them into the outside world. It's disgusting. But we can only mention this strange frog in the past tense because they died out in the 80s of the last century. Scientists are now trying to restore their population through cloning because, giving birth through the mouth is too cool an idea to pass up. Maybe this is how people will give birth one day. Another evolutionary horror and insult to all aesthetics is the red-lipped batfish that lives at the bottom of the ocean. It looks like a supermodel because of its bright red lips, and everyone makes fun of it because it can't swim. Yes, a sea batfish that can neither fly nor swim. A real bummer. Actually, at first it tried to swim, but evolution turned its pectoral, pelvic, and even anal fins into legs, with the help of which it walks on the bottom as if on a catwalk. Scientists say that its red lips attract mates, so if this monster can successfully reproduce, you have a chance too. But there are cases when nature is played out not on the whole species, but only on a single individual. The next time you feel like a loser, remember the story of a bear named Joey. This boy was unlucky enough to be born an albino and caught the eye of an animal welfare organization who mistook it for a polar bear just lost in the woods. To help Joey, activists caught it, put it to sleep with tranquilizers, and sent it to Antarctica. The bear woke up hungry and angry. Moreover, in an icy desert instead of a warm forest. Just imagine its shock. The poor guy could not find food, and moreover, there were also real polar bears much bigger in size. After some time, the researchers saw that the color of its skin had a yellowish tint and finally realized it was an albino grizzly and not a polar bear. Poor thing was put to sleep again and sent to the North American forest. Before Joey had time to rejoice, it was discovered by other animal defenders again, mistaken for a lost polar bear, and sent to the Arctic Circle. Having Vietnam flashbacks, Joey did not want to freeze its butt in the permafrost again, so it tried to nap somewhere warmer, but the damn people spotted it again and thought it was a lost polar bear. They caught Joey and sent it to a zoo for polar bears. Fortunately, the local employees had much bigger IQ, so they were able to distinguish between a polar bear and a grizzly and sent it back into the forest. The loser still lives there today, but it tries not to catch the eyes of nature conservationists. I suggest we leave Joey alone because it's been through a lot, and talk about the sloths. These are truly unique animals because it's difficult to understand how they did not die out thousands of years ago. They don't give a damn about the whole world around them and they can't see anything in the light of day. It is bad eyesight that is the reason for their slowness. Try running through the trees when you can't see. Fortunately, sloths compensate for their poor eyesight with a phenomenal sense of smell and excellent spatial memory. These creatures, although they live on Earth for hundreds of thousands of years, die from everything in a row. They're so lazy that they're not even able to control their body temperature and are completely dependent on the weather. If it suddenly gets too hot or too cold, the special food digesting bacteria in their stomachs die. Sloths die along with these bacteria. Of course, they are also lazy to reproduce actively. It takes too much energy. By the way, in ancient times, sloths were much larger, reaching several meters in length and existed on the territory of modern America. Unfortunately, they were just slow, so when the first humans came to that land, almost all of the giant sloths were eaten first. They were delicious, and there was no need to run for them. Sheep are also not so lucky because these creatures can grow hair literally to death if you do not take them to the barber shop. They lose mobility, overheat in the sun, and may simply fall, crashing to the ground. If you see a sheep that's lying upside down, help it, because it's not sunbathing and it's not posing for funny videos on TikTok. It's fighting for its life. A sheep can get its wool wet in the rain, making it so heavy that it can't even move. Also, an inverted sheep can simply suffocate, since in this position gases do not come out of its stomach. Sometimes the sheep can even explode from these gases. Okay, what's up with the flies though? We almost forgot about our headless Amber. It's kind of a circus here, to be honest. Everyone probably knows that flies like to constantly rub their front legs. They do this not because they have a devious plan, but to clean the limbs from the remains of food. And this way they reduce the weight of their body to fly more easily and screw everyone around. But due to the fact that sometimes these poor ugly creatures rub their hands too hard and fast near their head, they can unscrew it. And that's not all. The respiratory tract of flies does not begin on the head, but in the abdomen. Therefore, they'll live for some time after the incident. The fly may not immediately realize what has happened. It thinks that the head is food and continues to touch it, but without eyes, it's still doomed to die. These are some of the strange jokes that evolution came up with. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing. I remind you that I have many more interesting videos on my channel, so you can click on the one that appeared on your screen and watch it.